welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I'm Joche, and I'm your go-to girl for all things real. In today's video, I am reviewing the Royalton Blue Waters Resort in Montego Bay, Jamaica. So if you are interested in knowing about how this resort is as of 2025, and you want to know information about price, customer service, amenities, Clubhouse Kids, the restaurants, the drinks, the spa, the fitness center, tips to make the stay more enjoyable for you, please watch this video. But not only that, give it a thumbs up so it can reach other people who want to know where they should stay in Jamaica. I will be using chapters, which are timestamps that let you know about the different topics that I'll cover throughout the video. While I welcome you to watch the entire video, I understand that your time may be limited, so you can use these timestamps to jump around to what you feel is most relevant for your family or for your group. If you are new here, I am a lifestyle vlogger from the Atlanta area, and on this channel you're gonna find some of everything. But one thing to know is that I love to travel, and whenever I go somewhere, I try to come back and provide reviews and honest opinions, not only because I enjoy sharing my life, but I also like to help others. And when I was looking for this particular trip, it took me months to find a resort that I felt comfortable with. This was my second time in Jamaica, and the first trip didn't go so well. I'll include that information down below if you're interested in learning about that particular resort. But this resort was a win, and so I want to make sure to share all the information just in case you want to plan a trip to Jamaica and you want to stay at this resort as well. This resort is a family-friendly resort. However, it is connected to the HIDEAWAY Resort, which is for the adults. And you can get the same amenities that I'm explaining because they're on the same property. My room was for me, my husband, and my son Josiah, and my mother-in-law traveled with us, and I helped do her reservation, and hers was just a room by herself. So her room was the standard junior deluxe suite, and it was $839.49, and it was for 4 days, 3 nights. Her room included a king bed with a balcony, and it had mini bar stocked, rain shower, bathtub, and TV. Everything was nice in it, but this is the standard room for someone who doesn't care about the bells, the whistles, a butler, a view. So that, I think, is a really fair price for what was included. Around Memorial Day 2025, 4 days, 3 nights. Now for us, I booked a similar room, Ocean View Suite. And now our cost was $1,479.06. And we also had a king bed, a balcony, but our balcony overlooked an ocean view, which was really gorgeous. And it was a room that was supposed to accommodate up to 4 people. So when booking the room on their website, it did say that this room would either be a king bed or 2 doubles and a sofa bed. It does suggest that you only keep up to 4 people in the room. We had a note section that I entered and asked for a room with 2 doubles because we were traveling with a minor and we wanted him to have his own bed. Unfortunately, when we arrived, they were sold out of the rooms with 2 double beds. In fact, there were 2 weddings in town on the day we checked in, and so they were at capacity for those room types. So we were given a room that had a king and the sofa bed. Now, I do have a room tour on my channel, and I will overlay that on the screen, but I'll briefly talk about what the room looked like. When you enter the room, it had a private bathroom with a door that closed, and I appreciated this because I've been in other resorts where the toilet is connected to the shower and it's all in one room, and of course when somebody goes, it's all together in that one space. So it was nice to have that bathroom toilet separated from everything else and with a door so the smells didn't go everywhere in the room and in the other parts of the bathing areas. When you walk in, there was a closet that had a ironing board. It also had umbrella, safe, and things in it, hangers and things of that nature. And then there was a dresser to the side, a chest dresser with the 3 drawers and a mirror. Walking past there, you'd see to your right your vanity, which had his and her sink, as well as a garden tub, and then a shower with a door, which had a rain shower combo. It's 2 of them at the top there and a bench. Love the bathroom amenities. They were great. The shower was wonderful. It didn't leak. The water drained great. The water was nice and hot. The pressure was good. No complaints with those amenities. My son loved that garden tub. It did have a whirlpool with the bubbles and the jacuzzi, so he really enjoyed that tub. The room also came equipped with a mini bar. The mini bar included drinks. It had Red Stripe, bottled water, Coca-Cola, and Sprite, and it was able to be refilled upon request. There was also a coffee maker with tea, and they had like coffee, like instant coffee that you could make in the room. There was no microwave in our room. The television was populated with our information when we checked in, so it had my name on the screen. It also had a Royalton channel that kind of told you about the things going on the resort. You could check out the restaurants. You could check out what was going on in the fitness center. You could also see some TV stations. The TV stations were kind of limited. I know you don't go on vacation to watch TV, but like if you're like my husband, you always want to see what's going on with sports. They did have some sports, but it was more like the international things like soccer. So they did have a couple of children's channels. I saw Nickelodeon. I think there was also like a Disney, but I will say the quality of the TV when I was watching Disney, for example, it looked a little disoriented. It's not the, 1080 4K that you may be used to seeing if you're from the United States. But they did have some stuff that you could watch on TV. I think I watched, was it 50 First Dates or some movie with Adam Sandler one of the nights before I went to bed. Easy A was on TV. So they did have MTV and they had some channels, but it is not like a wild assortment of TV that you're gonna watch. There was a large mirror where you could get dressed. There was also a mirror in the corner that had a chair, so if you wanted to like do your makeup, you could. There was a sofa and sofa bed. The sofa bed was not what I'm used to seeing in the United States. It was not a true mattress. I will insert a picture of the foam type material that was located on this bed. I didn't take a picture of the bed because it was kind of gross. However, I can show you it was just a piece of foam. And if you're the type of person that does like girls trips or you do trips with other adults, I would recommend that you call and verify that they have double occupancy close to the time of your trip, and or only do 2 adults, 3 max in these rooms if you're gonna get stuck with a king and a sofa bed, because at least the sofa is comfortable to sleep on. But I personally would not want to go 50-50 or 33-33-33 or 25-25-25-25 with a group of adults and be stuck on the sofa bed, because the sofa bed that we had just was not up to what I would consider comfortable. I was really, really impressed with our room overall, even though I was disappointed that they weren't able to honor the request for the 2 beds. My phone worked in the room. I'm sharing that because I had an experience previously where my phone didn't work, and we were able to use it to request towels and things of that nature, and they were very timely about requests. So when we got there, our refrigerator actually wasn't stocked properly, and our bellboy allowed for he put a note in and they came within 20 minutes and stocked it. I called and asked for extra towels and a blanket because the room was set for 2 adults and not 3 people. They brought it within 30 minutes. So I felt like they were pretty quick about getting us what we needed and being mindful. Moving on to what is included with your cost, and at least with my cost. So it is an all-inclusive resort. The all-inclusive resort includes a fitness center. It includes childcare for children ages 4 to 12. It includes all the food except for a few premium upgrades and alcohol choices, literally like wines. There were some premium wines within the restaurants, but most of the food and most of the alcohol and smoothies and beverages were included, as well as the access to group exercise, the pools. I believe there were 4 pools, and then you had awesome beach access. I mean, literally walk right down the strip to the beach, and it wasn't a far walk at all. The money that you're paying by adding your child to your room actually covers them to be considered, and that is something that this resort does well. When I think about the food choices in the buffet, they had a designated part in the buffet called Kids Corner, where at every meal they had stuff that children would like, whether it's a peanut butter jelly sandwich with the corners cut off of the bread, or cheese sticks or fries or pizza, chicken tender. Like, they had stuff that kids would like. They also had this dedicated place for children called Clubhouse Kids that operated from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day of the week. And I felt like that was really cool because it gave the kids something to do for them besides sit up under their parents. And this was available for children ages 4 to 12, but I did see on the sign that they also have childcare for children under 4 for an additional cost. So moms of toddlers, you can come here too and get a break. The other thing that was included was the round transportation. So when I say round transportation, I mean from the airport into the resort. When I booked mine, it was through NEXUS Tours. I believe they have a partnership with Royalton. And for no additional cost, we were able to get a ride from NEXUS to and from the resort. And I am gonna post like a separate, more detailed video about that. But overall, it was a good experience. The thing I want to call out to you is that if you want to use that, you need to indicate it during the time when you set up your reservation. It will ask you, do you want transportation? In my case, it was free. It will tell you if there's a cost. When you say that you want to do it, you want to make sure you enter in the number of people that are in your room, if the number of people in your room will be using it. Our experience took over an hour, even though this resort is only 30 minutes from the airport, because it stopped around 7 or 8 other resorts before it got to the Royalton, including the Riu Aquarelle right across the way. Like, it's right next door. There's the Riu Reggae and the Riu Palace that's like right by the airport. We stopped at the Hyatt. We stopped at Ibustar or something. I have like a list. I was taking notes. We stopped at several other resorts along the way. So when you're doing shared, it's free, but it includes other people. Whereas my mother-in-law, she was on a different flight coming in than us. Her shared transportation experience going, she said they didn't stop at any resorts. They all were coming to her resort. So it just depends on who is traveling. The next thing I'm gonna talk about is the check-in experience and our welcome. The check-in process was probably one of my least favorite experiences. It wasn't that service wasn't good, but that was of course when we found out that they did not get our room type as requested. And it was a little bit tedious because it was a manual process. So they printed out some documents that we had to fill out and sign. And I feel like, you know, when I do stays in the US, it's always in the computer. You pretty much just put your credit card in, you get your keys, you go about your way. I feel like check-in process took about 15-20 minutes. It was hot in the lobby and humid. They had fans going. I was like, woo. And so it did help that they offered me a welcome drink, and I had a lemon drop, and it was wonderful. 10 out of 10. They did a great job on that welcome drink. Some things that I want to point out and make sure you know about this resort. Number one, they are going to take an incidental fee from you at check-in. The amount is $200. You will get it back when you check out. Number two, they give you a wristband. The wristband is your room key, and you need to keep it on your wrist at all times. If you lose it, it is a $150 fee. A lot of the amenities that go on during the day operate between the hours of 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. So for example, the pool bar and the kids camp and the activities that they do, like to get you excited, like group exercise and games and things like that, typically are going to take place between 10 and 5. Upon check-in, some of the things that we could have been able to do, we were not able to do with as much staff available because people start to leave, like the daytime staff begins to leave. Let's talk about the amenities on the resort. So they do have a gym. It's called Royalton Fit. It is really nice. A lot of machines. They had 4 treadmills. They had 2 ellipticals. They had some bikes. They had a lot of weight equipment. And I'm not just talking about free weights. Like, they literally had enough stuff in that room for you to do a whole strength training workout or a cardio workout or a combination of both. In addition to that, they have a schedule that they have on their TVs. And you can do yoga classes. They have aquafit throughout the week at different locations. Sometimes they're at the pool. Sometimes they're in that fitness center. Sometimes they're in indoor locations. But they have a rotating schedule every day with things that you can do to stay fit. I did use the gym, and I was really impressed with the amenities and the staff. They actually have someone in there watching you checking people in and out. And just if you need help with a machine or need something, like they're there to support you while you're there. And I thought that that was cool. Another amenity that they have is Royalton Spa. This is not an amenity that is free, but it is an amenity that I recommend that you do. On my third day, my mother-in-law and I did hot stone massages. The hot stone massages cost us $136. We received a 20% off coupon because there was a lady at check-in trying to do timeshare presentations. We told her no, but I was truthful and told her that we were gonna go get a massage anyway. And so she gave me a booklet that had coupons in it, and it included a 20% off spa service. The timeshare presentation thing, I'll just put that disclaimer out there for y'all. They're looking for people who are like couples, married, or just cohabitating together, who want to sit through a presentation, and they will offer you things. You can get free spa services for two. They might give you a free cabana. I just didn't want to do that, but for those of you who may want to do it, I honestly think it would be a cool opportunity, especially if you're staying for a longer time, like 5-6 days, and you don't mind spending some of your time doing that, because the spa services do range between $90 and $185 or so. One thing to note about the spa services, you go to the spa to make the reservation, and then they do require that you pay at the front desk, whether you charge it to your room or use a separate credit card. I actually opted to do a separate credit card because I don't really care to charge things to my room if I don't have to. If you arrive early, like an hour early, you can access the hydrotherapy area. They do allow you to access it after the massage, but I found that this was a better way to prepare for the massage. So if I were you and I was going, I would pay for my massage, and I would choose a time that allowed me to arrive an hour early, because with that you get the full experience, and that full experience includes a private tour with you and whoever is going on the spa massage or whatever service. I went with my mother-in-law, so it was the two of us. We got to do the wet sauna, the steam room, which was so hot, but it was just like a great way to detox, right? We did the dry sauna, we did the cold plunge, we were able to do a hot jacuzzi, have refreshments and cold. It was really water, but infused with like melons and cucumber. Like, it was a vibe, okay? And then when I did my massage, it really felt relaxing and amazing. And I rated a 10 out of 10, price, service, hands down was a good experience. So if you're looking for spa services here, definitely look for the deals. And if you don't get the coupon, you're like, well, how am I gonna get a coupon? I told you what I did to get it. But you can also find specials every day, including a daily special for massages after 5, where you can save money and get something for less. Like, one of the specials they had was you can get 90 minutes for the cost of 50. Another special that they had was on a certain day of the week, you could get a free exfoliation with the purchase of another. They also had 2 services for 180. Like, it was a lot of deals. So like, don't just go and look at the general pricing menu. Don't be afraid to check out those specials. And so with that, I'll transition back into some stuff that was included. Let's talk about what was on the resort to do and eat and things of that nature. So they do have about 4 pools on the Royalton Blue Waters side. 2 of those pools kind of sit on the children's side of the property, kind of close to where Clubhouse Kids is. There are water slides. They kind of have some for the smaller kids, some for the bigger kids. There's also a lazy river. They have these floatable devices that you can use and float through that lazy river. You can just sit on the top of the pool and coast. On the adult side of the Royalton Blue Waters, there is a swim up pool bar. Shout out to Keaton. They had a really friendly staff there making drinks. You can drink and enjoy music, live DJ playing music, and the vibes were there. The music was R&B hits and like stuff you would hear in the 90s, the early 2000s. I heard some Ashanti, some Fantasia, some Chris Brown. Okay, I heard some the Migos. Like, they was playing a little bit of everything for the people, you know what I'm saying? So I was a little surprised. They also had some music that was like, you know, Caribbean style music, but it was a lot of hip hop, R&B. It was a good DJ. I really enjoyed it, and the drinks were good as well. I had a lot of lemon drops. I also had a Bahama Mama. I had a shot called a Scooby-Doo. The drinks were on point. Rum punch made me sick the last time I was in Jamaica, so I asked for a lot of my drinks with vodka because I've been on a lemon drop kick lately. But if you're wondering about the liquor assortment, at the bar by the lobby, I did see that they had Don Julio. They also had Hennessy. They had some more like mid-level top shelf drinks, and it was not an additional charge for those. They had Sky Vodka. They had Smirnoff. So I'm not saying those are high level, but I am saying that I did see brands of alcohol that I recognize from back home, as well as house brands and Caribbean brand rums and things of that nature. But they did a really good job. I drank a lot of mojitos as well, and I had my mojitos with vodka, and they were good. So I say that to say the drinks were pretty good at this resort, and I really liked them. I also had a drink from Brandon at the bar closest to the Jerk Hut, and those were good as well. They also have virgin drinks. My mother-in-law doesn't really drink alcohol a lot, so she had a lot of virgin cocktails, and she really enjoyed the daiquiris and the Bahama Mamas. And so don't be afraid to come or even invite your kids, teenagers who are not able to drink, to have those virgin drinks as well. They do offer those. The Jerk Hut was the outdoor dining option for those who might be hungry between the hours of, I think, 12 and 5. One of the days they were on CP time, and they did not start cooking food until almost, well, serving food until almost 1 o'clock. The other day I came, they were on time. So the buffet is open at 12. So if you get hungry and the Jerk Hut is not ready, then go on over to the buffet. But the Jerk Hut food was actually really good and really flavorful. On it, they had things like yams, rice and peas, macaroni and cheese, corn, and jerk chicken. And the jerk chicken had sauce. They would actually take whole pieces of chicken and chop them up for you and put the sauce on. You can ask if you want white meat, dark meat, all meat, doesn't matter, big, small. And the food was really good. Like, I rate the food at the Jerk Hut about a 9 out of 10. Let's talk about the buffet. The buffet was open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I have to start by telling y'all it is probably the best buffet food I have ever had at an all-inclusive resort. They had jerk chicken, and they had some fried fish, and it had like jerk sauce and curry sauce. Y'all, the fried fish was fresh and flavorful. It was so good. The jerk chicken was so good. They had these potatoes. I didn't like those potatoes. They were too like rough, tough. But when I tell you the flavors were on point, one thing this resort knows how to do well is season some chicken. And I've tried jerk, curry, stewed. All the chicken that I tried was flavorful, okay? If you are worried about the buffet and having to eat in it, I wouldn't, not at this resort. When it came to breakfast, they had boiled eggs, brown eggs, and white eggs. You could get omelets made. I honestly just stuck to the boiled eggs. I've really been liking those lately. And so I didn't want an omelet, but I did see them making omelets fresh for people. They had things like pancakes and waffles. There was also some hot food items. And I would say this, the menu changed up every day. One day you might have felt like vegetables are lacking. The next day they had an assortment of vegetables. I think my day 3 there for breakfast and lunch, we saw a series of cabbage, callaloo, zucchini, squash. And when I tell you all of those grilled veggies were delicious, 10 out of 10. Another thing that I really loved on the buffet were the patties. They had curry patties, chicken patties, and beef patties. And when I tell you they only lasted for about an hour, you better get to lunch early. But they were so good. And it made me realize my love for curry patties. They were on point. A highlight of the buffet that I enjoyed during breakfast was their fruit smoothies. They have these fresh fruit smoothies that they prepare every single day, and they put different assortments of fruit like mangoes and pineapple. You can get cantaloupe and watermelon. You can get strawberry, you know, whatever flavors that you like. They had almond milk, they had dairy milk. They also had options with no milk at all. You could just get fresh fruit juice, and you could get a smoothie blended up. Now there are times in the morning where there's nobody standing over there, but honestly, y'all, be kind. There was a manager there who ended up stepping in and blending smoothies, and that was not even her role. And I ended up tipping her some money, and she took care of us for the rest of the stay, making sure we had smoothies if we wanted them. So I say that to say, like, you don't have to do that. That's just me. I'm just Joche. But I'm telling y'all, like, the smoothie was definitely a highlight. I had a mango pineapple smoothie like 3 days in a row. It was just so good. Another spotlight in the night that they only had one time when I was there was seafood night at the buffet. They had a seafood boil that included shrimp, crab legs, mussels, and it was seasoned to perfection, y'all. And I'm not even a big seafood person, but my family was tearing it up. They loved it. They also had some snapper, some salmon, and you could get it grilled fresh and they would make it for you. I had some and it was delicious. I tried seafood pizza, and usually buffet pizza is not all that, but their pizza was good. It was so good. And I love the way they seasoned it. Like, everything had great flavor. On the seafood bar, they also had cocktail shrimp, they had snapper, they had salmon, like kind of on the cold bar side, and they had crab claws. Everything in that buffet was good. This is one of the highlights because we did a lot of meals in the buffet, especially around Josiah's like Clubhouse Kids schedule. We had to check him out to eat each time, and so it was really refreshing to be able to go and have something that everybody liked. Speaking of that, they had a kids corner on the buffet. I think I mentioned that already, but I just want to remind that the kids corner was very inclusive of the kids. Sandwiches with the crust cut off. They had fries, they had chicken tenders, they had pizza, they had fruit cups, they had desserts crafted and curated for the kids. I had the opportunity to try 2 restaurants. We tried the Zen, which was the Japanese hibachi style place, and we tried the Hunter Steakhouse. I don't know why, but every time I go to a resort, I have to try a steakhouse. Zen is a Japanese hibachi style restaurant where they do a full service show in front of you. The person that we had doing our show, he was very interactive and fun. They did a birthday song for me, and I was celebrating my birthday very belated, but it was really sweet. They ask you, like, are you celebrating a birthday, an anniversary? They cook in front of you, and they do tricks with the knives and things like that. But the actual food was good too. For my appetizer, I had the miso soup. They did also offer sushi. The broth was a little bit dark, but the flavor was good. They also had the hibachi setup, which included rice, chicken, steak, shrimp, and seafood, which was like I think it was like a mahi-mahi fish. Overall, I rate the food about an 8.5, 9 out of 10. I felt like my favorite protein on my plate was the steak, but everything was seasoned super well. The shrimp was also good, but I only got like 3 pieces. But it was a good experience. And I think that if you want to have a fun dinner, you would enjoy it. If you do not like a lot of noise, I probably would not recommend this one. And I say that only because there's a lot of singing and banging, and it's not just your group. You're going to be with other people in the room, and like all of them are putting on that same show, so it can be a little bit noisy. The other thing to keep in mind is it is a family style dining experience, which means you're gonna sit with people you don't know. The next dining experience that we had at a restaurant was the Hunter Steakhouse, and the experience was lackluster. The first thing that went wrong was they sat us at a table that was wobbly, and like every time you put your arm on it or like, you know, put something down or try to grab something, whether it's bread or whatever, the table would move. So after receiving our appetizers, I did ask for them to move us to another table because I just didn't like having my table keep moving. It was just irritating, and I wasn't able to sit there comfortably like that. The service was not bad, it was just slow. Like, no one was rude to us, no one was like giving us any weird looks or anything like that, but it was just, it took forever for our stuff to come out after we got our appetizers. So I had the chowder soup. I didn't like it. The server did ask me if I liked it, and I was like, no. I was honest about it. They had an onion soup, but she recommended I try the chowder, and I'm like, well, if the onion soup is worse than the chowder, I don't want to try soup after all. We also had crab cake for the appetizer. The crab cake came out lukewarm. I actually liked the flavors in the crab cake. I thought it was pretty tasty, but it wasn't hot. My family didn't really care for it. They felt like it was just okay, but also they felt like it was too much breading on the crab cake. I give the crab cake like, you know, 6.5 out of 10 flavor wise, but temperature definitely was not there. And then we waited for a long time to get our entrees. My mother-in-law ordered the snapper and mashed potatoes and spinach. I had a New York steak with spinach. Husband asked for a ribeye with steak. Josiah just wanted a ribeye, so he didn't get any sides. once everything came out, I felt like my steak was salty. Cream spinach was good, it had good flavors, but it was lukewarm. Regarding the food my mother-in-law had, she didn't like it. She felt like it was just okay. It wasn't nothing to phone home about. If you watch the vlog, I did record vlogs from the experience. Like, y'all, you can see the lack of enthusiasm. Everybody was just looking like, And we didn't even decide to stay and wait for dessert. I was gonna get a cheesecake, but because everything had took so long, it just wasn't a good experience. Zen's reservation was around 7:15 and the reservation at the steakhouse was at 8:15. So my advice is to go earlier in the evening if possible and go to the buffet first. We went to the buffet first on the day we went to do steak, and we were so grateful that we did because the food just did not live up to par. Other than that, the food at this resort, I would probably rate like a 9 out of 10. Overall, counting all the meals I tried at the steakhouse, I even did the Scoops and Gelato ice cream shop. I had tried their red velvet cupcake. It was good. It was so good. And then I tried their ice cream and I tried their gelato. I tried vanilla. It was okay. But everything that I tried as far as food and drinks, I would give it a 9. Like I said, the best buffet food I've ever tried at a resort. It was not something that I got sick of. We are still talking about how good that chicken and those patties were. If you're a foodie like I am, or if you're a person who goes to the resort to relax and you're not gonna go do excursions and go off the resort, then I really think that the food at this resort is a major perk. Talking about the bars and like the drinks and stuff, I already told y'all I feel like this resort has a good assortment of drinks. They also have good drinks and good service. These bartenders are here to get you drunk, okay? So come and know how to say no if you don't want any more. You can also get bottles of water at the bars as well. It was a couple of times where I asked for a cold bottle of water because I needed one when I was outside, and they give it to you, or they'll give you some water in a glass. But the bars that I particularly experienced were the lobby bar, the swim up bar, and the bar by Joche, all of which gave me good drinks. And so I think that this resort does both drinks and food well. Clubhouse Kids. So Clubhouse Kids is the childcare option for children ages 4 to 12, and it is open every single day, and they have a true itinerary of activities for your kids to do, like arts and crafts. They have video games. Josiah got to play a little bit of Fortnite. They take your kids swimming. They do other activities as groups. My child also was able to make his own bracelet. Like, we bought these on the beach from a vendor, but Josiah had his own that he got to DIY, as well as a recorder. So I say that to say it is definitely worth the investment. This is a resort where you can bring your kids and get a break. It reminded me of Carnival a little bit, the cruise line, because the child care camp is actually intended for the kids. Now, if you have children that are under 4, they do have optional child care options for a cost. I did see that on the sign. One thing to note with Clubhouse Kids is that you do have to register your kids using the app. You can do it the same day that you enroll your children. And so don't worry, like if you didn't know and you arrive, you're like, oh no, like they will walk you through it. They're very kind. And it is from 10 o'clock to 5. So that kind of goes into what I was saying about this daytime activities kind of operate between 10 a.m. and 5. So before 10 a.m., your kids are with you. After 5 p.m., your kids are with you. But from 10 to 5, you can use Clubhouse Kids for supervision and activities. It's not just you're dumping them in a room. They have stuff for your kids to do. So you do have to register through the app. The app is pretty simple. They're gonna basically give you the opportunity to register any kids that are in the eligible age range. You fill it out. You put if the child can check themselves out, or if you want them to only let them be released if one of the people you approve pick them up. And then you also, you know, fill out like a waiver, basically granting them permission to keep your child. You are able to drop them off at 10 a.m. and then you have to pick them up for 1:30. They typically close for 30 minutes to an hour to allow time for a break for their staff, but also to allow time for you to take your child to get lunch, because they don't feed your children. And then you can drop your kids off usually between 2 and 2:30. On the first day, we picked up around 1. We had lunch, dropped them off at 2, came back at 5. The second day, they were doing a family foam party. And so they closed at 1:30 and reopened at 3 because the foam party was going to take place from 2 to 3. Now, if the weather interferes, which is what happened, then they will reopen at 2 and you can come back. So I bring that up to say, typically you get to have a break of about 6 hours, give or take. So I thought that that was definitely a perk of the trip. Honestly, if I was traveling with just my child and my mother-in-law wasn't there, this would make me want to come back, just because I could get a break during the day from mothering and just be an adult and have a drink and have a conversation with other adults or with my spouse without having to supervise and worry if my child is bored, if my child is getting into something. Like, if you are a mom watching this video, maybe you want to do a mother trip, mother-son trip, you know, sister-sister trip. You and your sisters have kids and y'all want to come without the husbands. I don't know. This resort is perfect for that. Now, for adults watching this, you might be wondering, are the kids just running around? No, they're not. I did not see a lot of kids running around. Most kids were with their parents or they were in that clubhouse area. And they have the Hideaway Resort right across the way. It's connected to this property, but it's separate enough that you do not see them on your side. So I really think that this resort is worth it. Let's talk about the Wi-Fi. Okay, so the Wi-Fi is something that you're going to have to set up when you get there. And this is kind of like the same with other hotels, but basically when you get there, you can do it through the app, I believe, and it's gonna be tied to your room and your room number. Basically, like, once you put it in, it'll let you do, I think, up to 20 devices, which is cool, because sometimes when you travel with kids, you have iPhones, you have iPads, you have different Apple Watches and all this stuff, and you want it all to be connected to Wi-Fi. So you can use up to 20 devices during your stay and connect those to the Wi-Fi. You brought your laptop, you know, all that stuff can be connected. But when you sign in, you have to connect to either the Royalton Blue Waters or the Hideaway Wi-Fi, put your room number in and your checkout date. And once you do that, you have Wi-Fi. The app is your best friend, okay? If I can't give you another tip, download the app. I know we're tired of downloading apps. I know we have app fatigue, but the app is your best friend. It lets you make room reservations. It lets you order room service. You can do room service on the TV. We actually ordered our room service through the TV. But when you get reservations for like the spa or a restaurant, they show up in the app in your account. And it's like while you're there, you have this temporary account that's tied to your room number, and it shows you what's going on that's relevant to you, whether it's something you reserved or it might be activities that are going on your side of the property. But the app was very easy to use. It wasn't any sort of technical issues with it, and I honestly felt like it was a good user experience. So even if you just download it and delete it once you leave, this is definitely a good app to have to make your stay more easy. The NEXUS Tours is actually embedded inside of Royalton's lobby. They have a room where you can go and you can go there to set up transportation, not only for the airport, but for excursions. So if you want to get a trusted ride to go do an excursion, they can help you along the way. They also have a wedding center. It is located next to the gym. I saw people in there a lot while I was there. There were some weddings on site. And if you have a wedding there, they do have a beautiful beach that you can get married on, but they also have ways that they can make it private. In fact, the first day that we arrived, they used the jerk hut to do the catering and the reception for one of the weddings that was taking place. So I know one question I often get is like, you know, is this a good place to do a wedding? I think so. And then talking about service and room service, the room service process is pretty easy. One thing I loved about this is that room service was included for free with your stay. You already paid for it when you paid for your room. There were no limitations on room service as far as when you could order it. I've had room service experiences at inclusives before where room service was not free, or room service was not included 24/7. At this resort, room service is free and it is available 24/7. You can do it on the app, or you can look on the TV in your room and order it. And what happens when you order it on your TV, you place the order for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then it sends an alert to the room service staff. The room service staff then calls your room to make sure that the order is accurate, or to inform you of anything that they may not have available, and to verify the order, and to give you an ETA of how long it's gonna take for it to get there. So we used room service twice. While there, the first night, we wanted to do a late night order. We ordered some pizza and we ordered some chicken tenders and fries. It took 90 minutes for it to come. But when I tell you it came and everything was delicious, I tried a slice of the cheese pizza, it was good. And I tried the chicken tenders and fries, and it was so good that I ordered some the next day after having some cocktails at the pool and needed something before dinner officially started. So the room service took 90 minutes when I ordered after 9 o'clock. And when I ordered it midday, it only took about 40 minutes. So I say that to say, I really like the room service here, not only because it's free, but because it tastes good, and you know, the way that they handle you is great. Like, yeah, 90 minutes is a long time. Like, I ain't gonna lie, the first night I fell asleep and I woke up and ate it, but I fell asleep before it got there. But my point is, they do it to where it's not a guessing game. You wondering if they got it, if it's gonna come. If something's not available, like I ordered the chicken tenders and fries and I wanted the fresh fruit plate, they called me and told me, hey, we're out of the fresh fruit plates. No problem. But at least I know you're not getting like confused if they come 2 hours later. Like, they tell you the lead time when they call you, and I really, really like that. But also, like I said, it tastes good. A lot of times room service is not all that, and they have the nerve to charge. So that was definitely a perk. And then overall service, that's something I always end every video on, you know. Service at this resort was a 9 out of 10. I did not encounter any rude staff, and it was a night and day experience from my first experience. There was, like I said, a lovely lady who took care of us and personally made us smoothies. She was so sweet. There was such nice staff making the drinks at the bars, and I know they work for tips, but even if you weren't tipping, they were just so nice, so fun. Some of them were singing and, you know, giving you an extra shot and this and that. Like, it was just so much fun. The bell boy who kind of helped bring our bags to our room, very sweet, very kind, helped us get our stuff restocked, and that was not his job, but he did it. The lady who did our housekeeping, she was very nice. They do come and clean your room every day. I will say, the first day we were like wondering when was they gonna come, because it was like 5 o'clock and they still hadn't came, but they did come and service it. The other day, like the next day, the lady came before 11 o'clock. So it varies based on who's working, if they're short-staffed, if they're overwhelmed. I did keep in mind there were 2 weddings there when we initially arrived, so I figured they probably were backed up, cleaning up after the people who were there for the wedding. We came to the resort Memorial Day weekend 2025. So knowing that and keeping in mind that it was probably busier from that Sunday and Monday rush because you got more people, and then by the time we were in the middle of our stay, Tuesday and Wednesdays, most of those people probably had left, so it was not as busy. The service we experienced in the restaurant at the buffet, we had a variety of different servers. They were very kind, very sweet, quick to refill your drinks. When I don't mean just liquor, I mean like water, juice, you know, that was good. You might be wondering what other juices and drinks they had. They had lemonade, they had orange juice, they had pineapple juice, they had tea, they had coffee. You could get any of those things upon request. You could get mimosas if you wanted them. I had some house wine at the steakhouse and it was pretty good. That was probably one of my favorite parts of the steakhouse because everything else was just so lackluster. But I say that to go back to service and say that it really was a good experience. And if I go back to Jamaica again, I would definitely stay at the Royalton because I felt valued by staying there and I felt appreciated by the staff. So that was my review of the Royalton Blue Waters in Jamaica. I tried to cover it all, but if I missed anything, don't hesitate to leave a comment down below for me and I will respond to y'all to answer any questions. If you have stayed at this property, go ahead and share your experiences in the comments below. I will leave my vlogs in the comment section as well and on the description box, so that if you want to see our experience, because I did record while I was out there, and also my room tour. And with that, I want to say thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy your trip if you are on your way to this resort, and I'll see y'all in another video. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.